set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out.
Hello, Miami. Thank you so much for watching 305 Sports Now. I am your host, Will. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking a lot of Canes football. We'll be talking Carson Beck. We'll be talking about the season. But who are we talking about the season with? Who are we bringing on the show? Ladies and gentlemen, Gen Z will join 305 Sports Now. The first person I'm going to introduce, okay, his dad is a personal friend of mine, and he is very active on X with his takes on the Miami Hurricanes, as well as the Florida Panthers as well. Ladies and gentlemen, making his debut on YouTube and this social media platform, Mr. Ricardo Urusuno. What's up, sir? How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem, man. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to bring on one more individual. You have got to read this young lady's takes on the Canes, on the Bucks, on the Dolphins, and I'm probably missing a few things here and there because she's very active on X and she has a lot to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing on Miss Surf's Sup Sophia. Sophia, how's it going?
It's going good.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, I enjoy reading your takes on X, and I'm very happy to have you guys on. And you guys, like I said, if you guys have a chance to look up their handles and so on, they are very, very well spoken and articulate about how they feel about your Miami Hurricanes, and they have a lot to say, okay, as well. But the first thing I want to go over is I want to begin first with Sophia. One of the things that I like to do when I have a first-time guest is I like to do an origin story. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're Leon Searcy, it doesn't matter if you're Richmond Webb or Mike Rump. You all give me your story. Okay, you all giving everybody your story. So, for you, Sophia, when did Hurricane fandom first begin for you? Because your guys are the first guests that I've ever had on that cannot physically, never physically saw a Canes championship team. So when did it start for you, Sophie?
So my mom and dad, they're from Miami. So my mom and dad lived through all the national championships possible that Miami could ever get. And I grew up going to the games. I grew up a Miami Hurricanes fan. As simple as that.
So, but your first, like when you really felt your fandom, that was, I believe, the Mark Richt years, right? The 2016, 2017 team?
Yes, definitely, for sure. But I think it goes a little bit before that, too. Just based off how I was raised. But I would say the Mark Richt era is what instilled, like, me being a fan forever. I don't like any other team but Miami. It's just a cultural thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like any coach who went to the U, they understand the culture. And I have a lot of family down in Miami, and I have a few family members who actually went to the U also. And that's the reason why it was such a big part of my upbringing.
Ricardo, what's your story?
Yeah, so I started following the Canes very closely over the past, the summer. Just hearing all the hype about, obviously, Cam Ward transferring to Miami. All these different players coming in. It was year 3 for Mario Cristobal, so I was like, I should probably go to all the home games. I feel like this is going to be a big year. And pretty much after each game, I really got more sucked into it and following it more, even catching the away games. So, yeah, I ended up going to all the home games, and they won all the home games.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they will go undefeated. Lost a couple of close ones at the end of the season, but it was a good year, and so my fandom began for the Hurricanes.
So you became a fan really this year?
Yeah, past season.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, that's great. So Cam Ward sucked you in, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, let me tell you, man, you could have fooled me, dude, because you sound like you've been a fan for years, especially in the way you express yourself on social media and your understanding of the team, the concepts, and even the strategies as well. So that was so yeah, man. So welcome to Canes fandom. All right, we're happy to have you here as well. You know, as Canes fans. So now I want to begin with you, Rick. I want to break down the season a little bit. Miami finished 10-3. It wasn't it. I picked the Canes to go 10-2 when the season started, but I picked 10-2 like many people did with an ACC championship. Nowhere did we think that 2 losses, which in the past didn't really hurt the NACC team. Nowhere did the 2 losses would keep you out of the championship game. And this. So, what are your thoughts on the offense first and the defense, Rick?
Yeah, the offense was for most of or some part of the year, it was number 1 in scoring offense in the nation. So led by Cam Ward and X or Xavier Restrepo. It was every game they will score like 30, 40, sometimes even more than that. I think they only had one game where they didn't even score 30 points. So the offense was clearly like the dominant force of this team. However, on defense, that was the issue. That's why they didn't go to the ACC championship or beat Iowa State in the bowl game. The defense was the liability on the team. Allowing teams to march down the field, leaving guys wide open, stuff like that. That's just basically what didn't make them undefeated this season.
Sophie, what's your take?
I'm a big quarterback person. Like that's my favorite position. Big fan of Baker Mayfield. But I feel like Cam Ward definitely was a driving factor for how strong this offense was. You could tell that everybody loved him, having him on the team, and that he was just easy to work with. Also, Shannon Dawson has been revolutionary for the offense too. And then you want me to ask, or you want my thoughts on the defense?
Yeah.
The defense, what I recall watching Miami games over the years is that our defense used to be a lot better, and I feel like we used to be known for having a strong defense, and it just disappointed me seeing the results this year. Obviously, a 10-2 season is excellent, and we obviously did get the necessary tackles and stops, even interceptions, but other than that, I just feel like a lot of money was left on the table, and I don't think Lance Guidry made the connection.
Well, Lance Guidry, it basically like Harry Truman used to say the buck stops here, and Lance Guidry was recently let go by the Canes, and Mark Cristobal, he took quick action and being released. Before we get into potential hires and so on, there were some positives of this season, and we saw some positives even in the Pop-Tart Bowl as well, including some negatives I think will help the team later on in the future. So for example, like for me, the guy I'm excited to see in 2025 is JoJo Trader. I was a big fan of his when he was being recruited by the Canes. He was always a Cane through and through. DeMarcus Van Dyke was his lead recruiter early on before we even had an offensive coordinator, before Shannon Dawson was hired. So that says a lot about how, the kind of connection that JoJo Trader wanted and had with Miami to begin with. So starting with Rick, who is an individual, doesn't necessarily have to be a true freshman, but who's an individual that you want to see a bit more of in 2025, or that you're excited to see in 2025?
Yeah, hopefully, I hope the running game can get better next year. Obviously, they have Jordan Lyle and Mark Fletcher Jr. returning, so I hope those guys can step up their game next year. We'd like to see the Canes. Obviously, the quarterback game was good, but I would like to see the running game get some attention as well.
So your guy's Jordan Lyle. That's the one that you want to see next season.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Sophia?
I was gonna say the same thing. I feel like there's a lot to build on for this upcoming season. I think he is an extremely talented player. I also am excited for Luke Nickel just because of all the accolades he has already as a senior in high school. And I just think he's going to be the next big thing in college football. Just if he's given the right opportunity. Obviously, he has the opportunity coming to the U, but depending on who gets the starting job as quarterback, there's a lot of competition. But I think Luke Nickel is going to be a great quarterback in college.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Luke. I've been a big fan of Luke since he was a sophomore. I mean, he's that dude. I mean, he's that dude. And I'm really, at the end of the day, whether it's Carson Beck or anybody else or Emory Williams, I think all roads point to Luke regardless. I think he's the future of the team. And I think that later on, if he sticks with his commitment, it will be Darren Coleman's team as well later on in the future, because I think our quarterback room in the future is going to be very well set with both those two individuals that are coming in. One as a true freshman, then next year, hopefully for the 2026 class. So I'm really excited for our quarterback room. But going back to the defensive side of the ball, with Lance Gidger being gone, there's been a lot of names being thrown out there of who can be a potential defensive coordinator. I've heard everything from Tim Banks, the coach out of Tennessee. I've heard Pat Fitzgerald, the former head coach over at Northwestern. I got three guys that I like. I got two guys that I do like, and I have one wild card only because of his South Florida ties. My number one guy that I would love Mario Cristobal to shock everybody and sign is Jim Leonard. He's the former defensive coordinator out of Wisconsin. Many people felt that when Paul Chryst was fired, he should have had the job instead of Luke Fickell, who's the current coach at Wisconsin, who, by the way, is holding poor Xavier Lucas hostage. And the university, right, is holding poor Xavier Lucas hostage and not letting him transfer out of Wisconsin. My second guy, and Rick, your dad, will love this because he's a big fan of this guy, is actually Will Muschamp. A lot of people treat Will Muschamp like he's 85 years old, but he's actually 53. Okay, he's still a young coordinator. He's an experienced coach. He's done both the head coaching thing and the defense coordinator thing. As a coordinator, he's been very successful pretty much everywhere he's gone. And then my third guy, which is a wild card, and not many people are talking about this, would be Travaris Robinson, who was actually defensive backs coach here under Manny Diaz, and took a job in Alabama, and now he's I believe he's working for the Georgia Bulldogs right now. I think as a co-DC or at some role in defense, if I'm not mistaken. So I went to high school with T-Rob, all right, as well, over at Coral Park Senior High School. And the reason why I like T-Rob, he has been a DC before. Will Muschamp's South Carolina teams were not very good, so I don't put T-Rob's schematics being bad. I just put that he doesn't have the talent to execute what he would like to do. So I would like to see him get another shot as a defensive coordinator in a team with more talent. I think Miami has that. And number two, he's also a very, very, very good recruiter, especially in defensive backfield. And he's put some guys in the NFL. So I think he'd be an attractive commodity to bring in some of the best defensive backs in the country if you were to decide to go the route of Travaris Robinson. So those are my three that I would like to see. I like Pat Fitzgerald as well. But those are my three. Again, T-Rob being a wild card because he has experience and he's a young guy as well. So I think that would be good for the team. Rick, is there anybody you have in mind, whether it's somebody in college, somebody on the staff, or somebody in the NFL that you may want Mario Cristobal to take a look at?
Yeah, I think a good pick could be somebody that's already on his staff, and that's former Miami Dolphin Jason Taylor.
Okay.
Obviously, he's the legendary Dolphins player. He's a good coach with the Canes, so that could be somebody from within that he could hire. Another guy that I've even heard out there could be a potential reunion with Al Golden. That's a name I've seen out there. I like Will Muschamp is also he was good with Florida, South Carolina. Those are some people that I've heard, but I think Jason Taylor could be somebody from within that they should take a good look at.
Before we go to Sophia, I want to tell the story. Your dad, went to UF, and he's a big Gator fan. And I fell for the trap of believing what I read online And when the rumors for firing Billy Napier were really circulating, you could read on a lot of sites who could be his replacement. And I don't know where I read it, but I read it Al Golden could be potentially a head coach, the head coach for Florida. That was really one site. I don't remember which one it was in general. But your dad gave me some guff, for being the only one to say that, in general. So it's funny that you mentioned Al Golden. I'll be frank with you. I don't think Al Golden will want to step foot in Hard Rock Stadium unless he's kicking the Canes' ass. Pretty much is why he would even step foot here. So I don't see that happening. He's not an Art Kehoe, somebody that got fired and came back. I just don't see that. But I can see why you would pick Al Golden. And the frustrating thing about Al Golden is that his DC, when he was down here, never coached like that. Okay, I don't even think Mark D'Onofrio knew what a blitz was. When he was here. And I see Al Golden setting pressure all the time. I'm like, dude, who are you? And why didn't you do that when you were here? That's my take on Al Golden. Okay, that's my take on Al Golden. Sophia, what about you?
So I think I'm the most familiar with Muschamp because I know he was on the Gators, right?
He coached the Gators, yeah. He was a head coach.
Yeah. And I think that's when the Gators were kind of in their prime back in the day. Not like the prime, but they were a better team. And I kind of want to go back to some alumni. I would like to see Ray Lewis or Warren Sapp be our defensive coordinators. I just wish more alumni would come back to the U and mentor our defense. So, yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't mention anybody on the Bucks. I know you're a big Bucks fan, so.
Warren Sapp was a Buccaneer.
Oh, that's true. You're right. But on the current staff is what I'm trying to say, like a linebacker coach or a D-line coach. That's pretty much what I meant. Okay. So there's a bit of controversy. Not controversy. There's a bit of rumors circulating right now over the quarterback position. I was a big time Emory Williams fan, and I still like him in general. But after what I saw in the Pop-Tart Bowl, I'm glad we're kind of looking at quarterback right now. Before the Pop-Tart Bowl, the only guy I wanted over Emory was John Mateer, and we all know he went to Oklahoma. That was my guy in general. But Emory didn't look very good in the game, let's be honest. And it looked like to me they never really evolved the playbook from when he played Clemson and Florida State from a couple of years ago. And that's when he was a true freshman. This is his third year on the team. So one guy that's circulating right now that everybody's been talking about, and he just recently released a do not contact tag in regards to the transfer portal, is none other than Mr. Carson Beck. All right, Carson Beck, the former standout quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs. If you ask some Georgia Bulldog fans, some Bulldog fans are like, he was good. Other Bulldog fans couldn't wait till he left the team in general. Some Canes fans have argued, including my friend Joe from the You Heard podcast, that Carson Beck is a lot better than people give him credit for. Because if you look at his numbers, and he had considerably the most yards and drops this season. Basically, a lot of drop balls that could have gone his way for Georgia. More interceptions this year. He threw about 7 last year, and this year he threw 12, 20 touchdown passes, almost 3,500 yards passing. Let's start first with Rick, and then we'll go to Sophia. Actually, let's go first with Sophia, then we'll go with Rick. What are your thoughts on Carson Beck? And is this somebody that you're okay with Miami bringing in, or would you rather wait for maybe a Quinn Ewers after the college football season is officially over?
So personally, I think Quinn might enter the draft, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too high on him. I would be okay with Carson Beck joining the U just so he could build a little bit more NFL draft stock and prepare for the next step in his career, because I think after what Cam Ward was able to do at Miami, I feel like it's a huge selling point for Carson Beck to come and build on his skills. And he's not a bad quarterback, in my opinion. I just feel like he's just had a weird year with that Alabama game. But other than that, I'm not too disappointed from what I have seen this year.
Okay, Ricardo?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with Miami getting Carson back. I think he's a decent quarterback. I think he could get better at Miami. Um, yeah, obviously he has his girlfriend here, Hannah Kavinder. So there's that connection, obviously. And he's the do not contact list, so it's pretty obvious that Miami's the number one front runner for him right now. Yeah, I definitely think like Sophia said, he can improve his draft stock. Because if he went to the draft today, he wouldn't be a first or even probably a second rounder. So definitely think he could use another season down in Miami for scouts to look at him and hopefully improve his stock.
Yeah. My biggest concern about him is not so much this year. I mean, the interceptions were a bit of a problem. I do think that could improve, playing that he's going to be on a good offensive line. My biggest concern about him, though, is the fact that he's having Tommy John surgery. And when he starts, I think, practicing with the team in general, I think he's going to be a little more, how can I say, is not as ready to go as Cam. When Cam came in January and it was off and running with Cam Ward, I don't think Carson will see the field much early on in practice until he pretty much properly heals. So that's my only concern of our Carson Beck, which could lead to some growing pains when they play Notre Dame, at the beginning of the year over at the Rock. But the benefit for Carson would be that he's going to have probably the best offensive line in the ACC blocking for him. Cam Ward could have made some cafe cubano, with that offensive line this year. And a lot of the Canes only gave up 22 sacks this season. Ward previously this last year at Wazoo, they gave up 38. And I do believe that some of the sacks given up this year by the offensive line, some of it was on Cam that he held onto the ball a little bit too long. So I think you could probably take away 5 sacks from that offensive line. It'll be about 17 sacks really given up this season, because then the quarterback would have just gotten rid of the football or found a quicker option or checked it down. So I think Carson will have that to his benefit. He's going to have really good wide receivers to throw to. I'm very confident in CJ Daniels, who we picked up on the portal. I'm very confident, obviously, in JoJo Trader. I like the young guys in Nycard, Chance Robinson, Joshua Moore, who's coming in, as well as a true freshman, 6'5". Miami wanted a big receiver for years. They got one this year in recruiting. And of course, you have the beast of Mark Fletcher, and then you have Jordan Lau, and there's high expectations for Gerard Pringle, who's coming in this year as a true freshman, and Chris Ridley Humphrey. So I do think Carson will be okay. He's not Cam Ward. That's what I think a lot of people need to also understand. He's not Cam Ward. He doesn't move like Cam Ward. You're not getting Cam Ward. But I do think, unfortunately, I wish I wouldn't have to say this, but I do think he is an upgrade from what we saw in Emory Williams over in the Pop-Tart Bowl. All right, what do you guys think about what I just said? Starting first with Rick.
Yeah, he's definitely an upgrade from Emory Williams. I was there at the Pop-Tarts Bowl game in Orlando, and I wasn't really pleased with his performance. Definitely not as good. He didn't play as good as some people hoped he would, or as some people might even hyped about.
Okay, Sophia?
Definitely an upgrade because of experience. He obviously has played like 4 years, and I feel like he's going to handle difficult situations a lot more efficiently than Emory Williams. Even though he did good in his freshman year, I just think there is a bit of regression, as we have seen from the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, but my biggest bother the Pop-Tart Bowl is they didn't trust Emory to go 5 yards vertical.
Yeah.
That 35, that swing pass to Jordan Lau was brutal to watch. So that's kind of what shocked me. If Cam Ward would have played the whole game, Miami wins that game. They had momentum. Yeah, Miami had momentum. I know, but hey, you know what? I get it. Cam didn't have to play. Let's be honest with you. He didn't have to play any quarter whatsoever. Most guys don't. They sit out and get ready for the draft. So I'm glad he gave us half a quarter. The game would have probably been worse if Emory would have started. Let's be frank, and we probably wouldn't have been as enjoyable. So I'm very grateful to Cam for at least giving us another half of exciting football for us to watch this season. So to say the least, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm very, very happy to have you guys on. You guys did very well, very great. You guys express your perspectives very well. I want where can people find you if they want to follow you and discuss sports, football, basketball, whatever, social media with you guys as well. Starting first with Sophie, where can we find you?
You can find me at Surfs Up Sophia, like Surfs Up and then SOFIA on Twitter or X.
Okay. And that's it?
Or Aloha Sophia on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ricardo.
Yeah, you can find me on X and Instagram, Rick Scores.
All right. Well, thank you both of you for joining the show today. All right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you heard, don't forget to follow these individuals. Right? They have some good takes and they do respond. Okay, they do respond to comments, etc. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you heard, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, 305 Sports Now. Once again, I am Will. Stay safe. God bless. All about you guys. Bye bye.